Hey, what's going on, y'all? Hope everyone's having a fabulous day. If you haven't gotten a chance to subscribe to the channel, please do so. Try to make videos on a regular basis. So if you ring that notification bell every time I drop a video, you'll be notified. This is going to be a weekend ramble, so I'm going to talk about a few things. But first, what I want to tell you guys is I did a sheet on a comparison on secure credit cards. I added a couple of more secure credit cards to my Google sheet. So if you guys get a chance, go in the description, click the link, and you'll be able to get a comparison of the top 12 secure credit cards side by side. You don't have to give me an address. You don't have to give me any money. It was just something that I wanted to create so that I could send people every time somebody asks me, what do you think about this secure credit card? What do you think about that secure credit card? So just go ahead in the description, click the link, and you'll be able to see the comparison of secure credit cards. It shows the interest rates, graduation, how long it takes to graduate the credit card, stuff like that. Another thing I want you guys to do is, if you haven't signed up for my newsletter, downloaded my book, it's called Credit Anatomy. I want you to go in the description and download my book, because you're going to get some templates to dispute on your credit report. You're also going to get my newsletter, where I send you weekly credit tips. It's been about 2 years that I've been doing this newsletter, where I send emails out to people, and I try and send them out on a regular basis. So hopefully you guys get a chance to sign up for those things. But I want to get into this, something that's been on my mind, because I get a lot of people that call me up and they ask me about what do I think about their bankruptcy, and I get a lot of people that call me. But a lot of times what I'm seeing is people are looking for easy buttons. I just recently, I think it was 2 days ago, I received a phone call from a gentleman that he makes about $53,000 per year, and he has a $1,600 credit card that went to collections, and he was thinking about filing bankruptcy. And as we were going, I was trying to pry, because I had to, there had to be something that I was missing. So I'm asking him, so you have a repossession? And he's like, no. You have any other debt? He's like, no, it's just this collection. But I really, they're coming after me pretty hard. They're talking about garnishing my wages and all this other stuff. And I'm like, wait a minute. So you want to file bankruptcy, a Chapter 7 bankruptcy, for the sake of not paying a very low amount on your credit card. It's like $1,500 and some change. And he's like, yeah. And I'm like, well, why would you do that? And he's like, well, now granted, his credit wasn't great, because he hasn't put any items on his credit report, but he's been watching my videos. And he's like, well, I seen that you filed a bankruptcy. You're in the 700s. I figured I'm going to follow your footsteps. And so what I wanted to talk to you guys about is, maybe I made my Chapter 7 bankruptcy, the way that I talk about it, too easy. I made it look like it was too easy for me to get where I'm at right now. And even right now, I want you guys to understand that when I go through my, certain financial institutions, they do not want to touch me because I have my bankruptcy. So a lot of times I'll talk to people and they're asking me, should I file bankruptcy? Should I file bankruptcy? And I'm like, what are you thinking? Like, negotiate and pay. Negotiate and pay. Or pay the full amount if you have to, but don't file a bankruptcy. A bankruptcy is not anything that you're going to be able to file and walk away clean, and it's going to be an all downhill battle. When you file a Chapter 7 bankruptcy and you get your discharge, that is going to be on your credit report for 10 years. When financial institutions see your bankruptcy on your credit report, a lot of them will not want to touch you. And I'm going to talk about business credit in a little bit, but I want to touch on a few things about this bankruptcy thing. I want you to understand that when I filed my bankruptcy, I ended up filing my bankruptcy as a last resort. In 2014, the economy, the oil field, took a steep downturn. It was like 2015 actually. And we went from like $116 a barrel to down to, I believe it got as low as 30. Even 5 years, in 5 years, the oil field in Louisiana still has not recovered. You can look at the price of oil right now and it's at $50 a barrel. At $50 a barrel, there's not a lot of drilling going on that, you know, we can move products. When it was at 116, we had work every day. At $50 a barrel, it just wasn't a lot of drilling going on. And when all the contractors, the big companies like the Schlumbergers and the Halliburtons, when they left, it took a lot of the work from us. And they ended up going up north, or they ended up moving out west to Texas. And it just put us in a very, very bad situation. I did everything in my power not to file that bankruptcy. I worked really, really hard not to file that bankruptcy. But I had so much debt. It was like $200,000 worth of debt that was hanging over me. There was no way that I was going to be able to get out of that debt anytime soon. And I knew that. It would be far easier for me to recover from a bankruptcy than it would be to try to pay off that debt. And so with, talking with the lenders and all my financial institutions, it just became more of a hassle. And the only option I had left was a bankruptcy. The only option I had left was a bankruptcy. So it was not an easy button for me. Sometimes maybe I get up here and I talk about, oh, well, if you feel a little sick and you don't want to pay your cell phone bill, file bankruptcy. Maybe I make it sound that easy, but it is not. It is not an easy process. There was a lot of things that I had to do in order to get my situation where it is today. I had to jump through a lot of hoops that most of you probably are not willing to do. I had to build a strong network in order to get where I'm at. And if you don't have these resources, if you don't have this drive about you that you're willing to take all the no's, walk into financial institutions when they told you no yesterday, and you walk right back in the next day asking them, well, what can I do in order to get approved for this loan? If you're not willing to do these things, then chances are you're going to have an uphill battle when you file your Chapter 13 or Chapter 7 bankruptcy. And so bankruptcy is not an easy button. I would not wish this upon my enemy. But maybe, just maybe, I make it look easy. Maybe I make it look like I just one day said, hey, look, I'm going to file a bankruptcy. And, next day I was sitting at a 700. It's not that easy. When you're building credit, it takes time. And I try to get you guys to understand that you have to build your patience muscle. You have to learn how to build that patience. I had a young lady that called me, I think it was either last week or the week before last. And she said, Ken, I'm sitting, my credit score, I can't get above 580. I applied for the MyJewelers New Coast Direct. I got 2 secure credit cards, and I got a SelfLender account, but my credit score isn't moving. And I'm like, oh, okay, well, it's not moving at all? She's like, no. And I said, okay, well, when did you apply for all this? She goes, well, I applied for it all at once. And I'm like, and there's no movement on your credit score. She goes, well, it went down a little bit, but it's not going up. And I said, okay, well, yeah, you might take an initial hit, but what happened? Why not? when did you apply for this account? She goes, oh, I applied for it about 3 weeks ago, and the only thing that's reported is my secure credit card, one of my secure credit cards. And I said, well, everything hasn't even hit your credit report. It's not gonna go up. There's nothing on your credit report. And so I said all that to say this. A lot of you don't have the patience that it's going to take to do the way that I teach things. It takes a great deal of patience. I get people that call me up and say, Cam, what do you think about CPNs? I don't. There's no need for it. And I know you guys want to push the easy button. That's why you're running to CPNs. But why not build your own credit? Spend the money that you would spend on these CPNs and build your own credit up. And that's their only reason why is because you want an easy button. You lack the patience that is required in order to get your credit where it needs to be. And I'm not taking shots, y'all. I'm not taking shots. I'm just saying it is what it is, because there's no reason for you to have to do that. So you build this, you take all this time, you take all this money, and you build up a CPN. Okay, but you're not going to be able to apply for no mortgage. You're not going to be able to apply for student loans or anything federally backed, because then chances are it's going to bite you in the rear a lot worse. Why even take that risk? I don't even understand it. The risk is not worth the reward when you look at the options of why not just take that same time and that same money and build my own credit up, regardless if you have collections on there or not. And yeah, it's going to take you a little bit of time, but it's also going to take you time to build your CPN. If you think that you're going to buy a CPN and walk into a financial institution and ask for a car loan or credit cards or what have you, good luck. I hope it works for you. But you're rolling the dice. You're gambling at that point. And chances are the odds are in the financial institution's favor. And here's why. You can look at somebody's credit score and pretty much tell how old they are. I know it's against the law to discriminate against someone for their age. But if they really wanted to set guidelines that we don't want to deal with anybody under 21, they could pretty much do it just by looking at your credit report. These financial institutions have algorithms that can tell them everything about you. So if you walk in there with a CPN and all it has is a couple of, or let's say you put 10 authorized users on your credit card or on your CPN. Those are authorized users. It's very easy to tell, okay, but you don't have any primary accounts. There's not very many companies that's going to give you a primary account that's going to be backdated. So if you walk in with a whole bunch of new credit, they're going to tell you have a very, very low history on your credit report. And so you're going to be treated as a high risk anyway. So why not just build your credit? Even if you have derogatories, it still shows them that you're a human being, right? Because you're a far less risk if you have experience dealing with credit than somebody that's 18 years old going out here trying to get established. And when you get these CPN numbers, that's what you look like. You look like an 18-year-old trying to get credit because all you have is a bunch of inquiries and a bunch of new trade lines, primary accounts, and you have a bunch of authorized users. Oh, well, who are these authorized users? Oh, that's my mom and dad. Oh, okay. And that's what you look like. So you don't have no history to your credit profile, whether it's good or bad. You have no history to it. No, I got a month's worth of history on my credit report. I need a $30,000 car. And these financial institutions, they can see it. It's not like you're pulling a trick and getting them to give you some money for the sake of something that they don't know. If they give you money, they wanted to take that chance on you. They wanted to take that chance. It wasn't like, "Ooh, I got over on them on that one." That's not the situation. If you think that's the way it goes down, you got this whole game messed up, right? Because it's not even close like that. And so I said all that because I get frustrated sometimes when people talk to me and all they think about is these easy buttons. And it I'll give you another one. Business credit, right? Let's talk about business credit for a little bit. So, once upon a time, right? Once upon a time, you were able to go out, get shelf corporations, get a federal tax ID number, get your DUNS number, put a couple of net 30 accounts on there. If you don't know what net 30 accounts are, just kind of look them up. And you would look like you have some business credit. When you walk into a bank today, 2020, they're going to require so many documents that you thinking you're going to get a shelf corporation or get this business credit that's not tied to your social security number at all. That is dark ages. That is some trickery, or trying not to curse, y'all. But that is some BS. All right? And so a lot of people ask me, "Well, Ken, why don't you talk about business credit? Why don't you talk about business credit?" In order for you to build business credit, you have to have good personal credit. And like I said, maybe I made it look too easy. So when I talk about when I purchased my trucks, just in my business name, right? I purchased 2 trucks. Both were right around $50,000-$60,000 just in my business name. And when I purchased them, they gave me lines of credit. Now, when I purchased these trucks just in my business name, maybe I didn't tell you the whole story. You see, up until that point prior, what I did was personally guaranteed a lot of debt. I had a lot of experience with business credit. And how I would do it is I had a business that was generating a lot of income. Okay? And so I had taxes. I had profit and loss statements. I had business plans. I had all the tools in place that it was going to take for a financial institution to look at it, take a chance on me with the personal guarantee first. I personally guaranteed a lot of debt. A lot of it. A lot of it I paid off. Right? There was a situation where I purchased one truck for like $20,000 and paid that off in 6-7 months. But they seen that I was growing, and they seen that I was paying stuff off. It wasn't like I just woke up one day and said, "Hey, look, I want to go get a $50,000 truck in my business name. Go ahead, let's do it." They would not do it that way. But most of you think that you're going to go out here and get, all these different things because you got some net 30 accounts. It just doesn't work that way. I'm going through a situation right now, and this kind of ties into the bankruptcy thing again. But I'm going through a situation where I'm trying to refinance this truck. And because I have a bankruptcy on my credit report, there are a lot of hoops that I have to go through. I've been building my business credit. I have my net 30 accounts. I have business credit cards. They're asking me for Hey, so what are your tax returns? Give you tax returns. What's your profit and loss statements? Give you the profit and loss statement. What is your personal credit? Give you my personal credit. Like, I'm trying to do everything that I possibly can to get this truck refinanced, and it's not easy. There is nothing easy about this. I just got turned down from one financial institution because I got so much equity in this truck that I don't want to put any money down. I got a company that approved me, but they want me to put 20% down on this truck. This truck is it's worth about 90,000, 99,000, but I only owe 70,000 on it. So they want me to put $14,000 down. I don't want to put $14,000 down. Is there another way we can do this? I don't want to put $14,000 down. Well, we can do it, but you got to put 14 down. And I'm saying, well, can't we use the equity in the vehicle as my down payment? And I'm going to different financial institutions, and the banks, like the traditional banks, they want me to put so much money down that I'm like, nah, I don't want to put that money down. But they see that bankruptcy on my credit report, and they're requiring me to put so much money down because I have a bankruptcy. Could I put the money down? Absolutely. But this is the game of finance. Most of you probably would take the first option if you got the money. If you got the money, you would take the first option. But sometimes you got to just be a little bit patient and put all your options on the table. And then you make a decision. And I just want you guys to understand that filing a bankruptcy, CPN numbers, building business credit not attached to your social security number, these are all uh, get rich, you know, uh, trickery plans that they're trying to give to you that you guys buy. Hook, line, and sinker. And I want you guys to understand that's why I don't talk about business credit. Because most of you are going to go flip the YouTube channel. You're going to see somebody that's really entertaining. They're going to sell you some product that's, $10,000. And you guys are going to go, okay, I'm going to spend all this money on this plan without actually building my personal credit. And I just don't believe in it. That's just not the way it works. And I believe like you're throwing money out the window, and I believe in my heart of hearts you're wasting your time. Because the amount of money that it takes for you to build business credit, it's not worth it. It's not worth it. Getting the net 30 accounts, going out putting money down on equipment, building a real business, not just, okay, I'm going to get a federal tax ID number, call myself a real estate company, and I'm going to go get business credit. No, not if you don't have good credit. Not if you don't have good credit. If you have good personal credit, chances are you can get in the real estate game. But if you don't have good credit, man, good luck. It's going to take you years, and most of you don't have a business that's generating $250,000 a year, right? To show the banks that you're generating income with good, healthy profits, paying taxes, right? Oh, well, I'll just show a loss on my business and pay no taxes. Yeah, you could do that, but then the flip side of it is, when you go to a financial institution and they see that you don't have any profits in your business, you look like a high risk. But they don't teach these things in these business courses. They teach you, oh, you got to go out and get you a Quill account, get you a Granger account. That's part of it, yeah. But man, there's so much more to business than just sitting there going, I'm gonna get me a couple of net 30 accounts. I'm gonna get me a couple of business credit cards, and bada bing, bada boom. I'm gonna be Grant Cardone. And okay. There's a lot of stories where people tell half truths. They tell half truths. Even if you look at Grant Cardone's story, and Grant Cardone is one of the biggest hypocrites on the internet. And nobody says it. Like, he gets up there and he tells you guys, oh, don't get a home loan. Don't get a home loan. Well, how do you think he got his real estate started? I'm not talking about the rental. Go on, look up Grant Cardone selling his personal home for $18 million. Right? Just Google it. He sold his personal home for $18 million, and then he started purchasing real estate with the money that he got from selling his personal home. But he tells you guys, don't get a personal home. Well, you got your start from your personal home. Why shouldn't we do it? But they won't tell you the whole story. They'll tell you half stories, and we buy it hook, line, and sinker all the time. And maybe I'm guilty as well, because you guys look at me and you think, oh, well, Kenny filed a bankruptcy. Kenny filed a bankruptcy. I can do this. And no, it's not that easy. No, you shouldn't look at a bankruptcy as a way to get around your debt. No, you should not look at credit repair so that you don't have to pay collections. Just because you use a credit repair company does not mean you don't have to pay. And I get this so often that I don't know if I'm not giving everyone the full story of what it is, but this is what it really is. We are going into a contraction, right? If you look at the volatility of the stock market, and no, I don't believe the stock market is an indicator for our economy. If you look at our economic numbers, you will see that we're not doing as great as everybody is saying, right? So we know that at some point there's going to be a contraction. During a contraction, banks aren't lending money like they typically do during a growth phase. So if that's the situation, what happens in a contraction? Money is not being lent. So those of you that are going to the Navy Federal Credit Unions, getting your $25,000 credit cards, all that's going to come to a stop. Those of you with high limit credit cards, and I don't care if you have money on your credit cards. It happened in 2008. It will happen in the next one. People will have, these $20,000 credit cards. They'll have about $18,000 on the credit card. Next thing you know, your credit card company's calling you up saying, hey, just let you know, and they don't call you, mind you, they send you a letter saying that we decreased your credit line to $5,000, right? And so now you got $18,000 over on a $5,000 credit card. And at that point, your utilization rate is just trash now. And it happens all the time during a contraction. So a lot of you people that are carrying these high debts on these credit cards, a lot of you that have credit cards that you're not using, right? A lot of those are going to close, and you're starting to see it right now. Some of you may have credit cards that just recently got closed for inactivity. Why would I put money with somebody? Because they have to count that as an asset, right? That money or a liability, they have to count that money on their books. And so why am I going to put my money with you if you're not going to use it? I'm going to put it with somebody that's going to put money to use so I can earn interest off the money that I'm giving you. Right? They're not just giving you plastic, they have to show that money on their books. And so during this next contraction, if your credit is not together, if you're not ready to pounce on these opportunities, you're not going to win. And that is why the rich get richer. You keep hearing these situations where, well, it's a wealth transfer, and the rich get richer and the poor get poor. You hear people talking about, but there's a reason. It's not because of anything other than the fact of they take advantage of situations and the poor don't. The rich take advantage of situations that the poor cannot. Right? Housing market crashes. You got a $300,000 house that goes to $150,000. Well, I don't have the cash. Well, you don't have the credit either, right? Your credit profile doesn't allow you to take advantage of that opportunity for a house that dropped all the way to 150. Whereas that rich person, they don't even use their money. They can still go to a bank and get a loan that says, yeah, we'll do business with you because you got good credit. But that's why there's a wealth transfer during contractions. That's why things happen. We don't have it's not just the fact that they have money. That's a part of it. But having access to capital. That is, if you do not have the money, you have to have the ability to access capital. The only way you're going to be able to access capital in a contraction is have your ducks in a row. You working on your CPN and your business credit, it's not going to work. And I hate to say it, but it's not going to work. And that's why I don't talk a lot about business credit. That's why I don't talk about CPNs. Are there people that are doing these things? Absolutely. But is it worth it? I just don't believe it is. I just don't. So that's my 2 cents on all that. If you guys get a chance, subscribe to this channel. Join my newsletter. I'm not going to make this long video. I just wanted to touch bases. It's not that easy, y'all. Y'all have a blessed day. Catch you on the next one. Talk to you later. Bye-bye.